Hello folks, my name is Mark and this is Why I Hate the World, and I want to say Happy New Year to everybody out there. And I'm just chilling, enjoying New Year's Day on my 3-day weekend, and what better way to do that than to make a video about Ron Paul. so yeah, I know I made one about him already, but but he's been in the news a lot lately because it looks like he might actually have a chance of winning the Iowa caucuses. Which, for people of you out there who don't know what that is, it's basically the way that the candidates choose each party chooses a candidate. They hold a bunch of caucuses. They hold primary votes in various states, and Iowa happens to be the very first one. And it's always a big deal whoever wins that, because then they could carry it over into the other ones and they gain momentum and shit like that. So anyway, Iowa's coming up and Ron Paul is roughly in a dead heat as of today. From what I saw, I don't know, it could be different, but from what I saw, he's in a dead heat with Mitt Romney and Newt Gingrich. They're all roughly around 20 to 25%, right? Which means that he might actually have a chance. So. But, lo and behold, the other candidates have been busy little bees digging up dirt on Ron Paul. And this seems to be driving the whole libertarian anti-tax fucking Paul-tard crowd into a bit of a frenzy because they can't handle it, right? If there's one thing that Ron Paul supporters do not like, it's when people criticize Ron Paul. And, I'm sorry guys, but this is what happens when your guy becomes the leader in the polls, is that people start attacking him, right? So that's what politics is all about. Now, the big thing that came out is Ron Paul has these newsletters that he in the 80s and the 90s he put out, this is like before the internet right became widespread, I should say it that way, before the internet became commercialized and normal people could access it. Essentially, he put out these different newsletters, with various titles. One of them was the Ron Paul Financial Report and shit like that. And they catered to the libertarian anti-taxes crowd. But the thing is that they contain a lot of really, really wacky government conspiracy theory type things, NWO type shit. And it also turns out that they're full of extremely right-wing, racist, borderline, like, white nationalist bullshit as well, okay? Some of it is really fucked up. And it's, kind of ridiculous. I mean, if I'm hearing from a lot of people that this is like this is a hit job, and it's a smear campaign, and it's a hoax and all that shit. This is not a fucking hoax, alright? Alright, there's 20 years of these fucking crazy-ass fucking, really just bizarrely, like, bigoted fucking newsletters for, there's 20 years worth, okay? And, so I'd like to read some of these more crazy ones here. Let me just scroll down here. Okay. And there's a couple of links that I'm going to put in the little bottom thingy here for people that, you can check them out. A few of the more crazy quotes, here's a bunch that have to do with black people. Opinion polls consistently show that only about 5% of blacks have sensible political opinions, right? Which is, I guess that means only 5% of blacks, vote Republican, which is fucking bullshit. If you've ever been robbed by a black teenaged male, you know how unbelievably fleet-footed they can be. Yeah, that's, digging into the whole, running fast stereotype kind of thing. We are constantly told that it is evil to be afraid of black men. It is hardly irrational. Alright, that's kind of fucking okay. What else do we need to know about the political establishment? Then that it refuses to discuss the crimes that terrify Americans on grounds that doing so is racist. Why isn't that true of complex embezzling, which is 100% white and Asian? So, First off, all right, just by that quote, terrify Americans, okay? So this is basically, it's the idea that, you know, black people aren't American. It terrifies Americans because it's racist. So I guess the black people are not, what? They're not included in that part of people that are terrified, so they're not Americans, right? Secondly, what is this, like, you know, 100% white and Asian shit that do complex embezzling? It's like, they're stereotypes. They're racist. They're small-minded, racist stereotypes. It's fucking... Anyway, on the 1992 Los Angeles riots, order was only restored in LA when it came time for the blacks to pick up their welfare checks 3 days after rioting began. Yeah, okay. He had a special issue called The Coming Race War. And here's some quotes from that one. And this was in 1990, I think. Racial violence will fill our cities because mostly black welfare recipients will feel justified in stealing from mostly white haves. I've urged everyone in my family to know how to use a gun in self-defense, for the animals are coming. Who exactly do you think the animals are in that sentence, huh? Okay. A few more. Why stop when we're ahead? On South Africa abandoning apartheid. Remember when that shit happened back in the 80s, right? This is what Ron Paul's newsletter had to say about it. This is testament to the destruction of civilization, the most tragic to ever occur on that continent, at least below the Sahara. So, yeah, there's Ron Paul, you know, in support of apartheid. He really seems to hate Martin Luther King in these things. Lots of shit. So, you know, talking about when Martin Luther King became a holiday, you know, it became a national holiday, what infamy Ronald Reagan approved it. And one newsletter said in 1990, we can thank him for our annual Hate Whitey Day. Right. That's, some other shit he said about Martin Luther King is that he was a world-class philanderer who beat up his paramours, right? Seduced underage girls and boys, and that he hit on other, like, civil rights leaders of the same sex, basically calling Martin Luther King, like, gay and a pedophile. You know, there was one newsletter, there were some black activists who wanted to rename New York City after Martin Luther King, which, yeah, okay, that's wacky, right? But one newsletter said about those people that they suggested naming it Welfaria, Zooville, Rape Town, Dirtburg, and Lazyopolis. Okay, that's fucked up, right? The same year, they also described Martin Luther King as a commsimp, not an actual party member, and the man who replaced the evil of forced segregation with the evil of forced integration. See, it's, okay. You know, and the thing is, these things, they go on and on like that. You know, all kinds of really rotten, racist bullshit. You know, bigoted, okay? Like, stuff about gay people, right? Like conspiracy theories about gay people trying to poison the national blood supply with AIDS, okay? Articles saying that gay people should be quarantined, right? And they shouldn't be allowed to eat in restaurants and shit because they could pass it along through their saliva, which is, you know, unfounded bullshit. But anyway, you know, and that gay men like the attention that the disease gives them, okay? That's something in there. There's articles praising fucking David Duke, all right, who was like, he's like a former Grand Wizard of the KKK, you know. There's all kinds of just bad shit about, like, talking about Israel, pretty anti-Zionist statements, not really anti-Semitic, but, you know, borderline, you know, like, he makes an inference that the Mossad was responsible for the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, which is completely fucking unfounded conspiracy theory bullshit. You know, and there's articles in support of militia movements and just tons and crap dealing with, like, NWO type conspiracy theories, you know, like the Federal Reserve and monetary policy and like an international cabal of bankers and all this other shit, right? I mean, there's years of this crap out there, okay? And I encourage anybody to go, if you actually support this guy, go read these fucking newsletters. They're pretty disturbing. So, now, the response that Ron Paul and his people give to this accusations is that I didn't write them and I don't know what was in it. you know, and I don't know who did write these, and I wasn't aware of the content of these newsletters. So that's bullshit. Okay, I mean, first off, the guy made a living doing this. This is what Ron Paul did. In between those years and like 1985 to 1994, like, or 96, whatever, like when those years when he was not in Congress, you know, he was not in politics, like this is how he made his living. Okay, he made like, I mean, he sold like, you know, like $1 million. That's what he made a year off of selling these newsletters. You know, there were like $100 a year for a subscription, right? So fucking thousands of people bought this stuff, and he made lots of money doing this. And he's gonna turn around and say, yeah, I don't know what was in the fucking, I don't know who wrote those. I mean, that's bullshit. I'm sorry, dude. And the thing is that he even admitted in 1996 when these came up, when he was running for the Senate, and his Democratic opponents brought these newsletters up saying, you know, what about all this racist shit that you said? He even like admitted that he knew what the content was, you know, back then, but said that it was taken out of context. Okay, so 10 years ago he's like, yeah, or you know, 15 years ago he's like, yeah, I don't know, I knew what it is, it's out of context. Now he changes his fucking story. It's like, get the fuck out of here. I mean, there's a link called the Racist Newsletter Timeline, which I'll put in the bottom here too, that you can read, basically showing how he's like fucking trying to erase this from his history, you know. And I'm sorry, dude, it's fucking crap. Now the thing is that I don't understand, you know, because people see the Ron Paul today, you know, the things that he says and his anti-war stance and all that, and then they're confronted with this more wacky, racist, radical past, and they say that, you know, it's bullshit, it's fucking a conspiracy theory, you know, it's a hoax and all that crap. And I don't understand why it is such a hard thing to believe that Ron Paul could have these kinds of attitudes, okay? Because Ron Paul is from Kentucky, all right? He's from the deep South. Now, I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone that lives down there, right? I don't mean to be insulting, but this shit is true. This is the kind of shit that people in the Deep South believe. Okay, you know, I mean, you know, these are the people that they believe that, like, you know, there's going to be a race war, and that, you know, there's a lot deep-seated racist attitudes that go back hundreds of years there. Okay, these are people that call like fucking the Civil War, like, you know, the war of northern aggression and shit like that, and, you know, the war of southern freedom and all that other crap, and you know, and they think that fucking, you know, this is the kind of people that think that the government is poisoning the water by putting fluoride in it, you know, or that they're tracking people with fucking hidden like RFID chips inside of dollar bills, you know, the strip or whatever, right? Or that like fucking chemtrails from like airplanes are sterilizing people, okay? You know, and I mean, these are like the environmental movement, according to these people, is like a fucking satanic conspiracy laid out by the Georgia Guidestones to eliminate fucking 90% of the human race through a government engineered fucking plague and race war. You know, and those that are left are going to be like enslaved in a gigantic worldwide socialist megastate controlled by the fucking Antichrist, right? This is the kind of shit, this is where it comes from, right? I mean, is it any wonder that the people who believe in this crazy conspiracy theory bullshit also all happen to be right-wing fundamentalist Christians, right? And all of them support Ron Paul? I mean, is that a coincidence? I don't fucking think so, right? This is where this comes from. Now, I've been hearing a lot on the inner tubes and Reddit and a few other places that, you know, boards that I frequent to make fun of right-wingers, that since Obama has chosen to sign the National Defense Authorization Act of 2012, that he sold us out. And, you know, even though he signed it with a signing statement saying that it was not going to be interpreted to apply towards American citizens, that he signed it anyway and the next president will have this power, and that's no guarantee that he won't actually do what he says and all that shit. And that he sold us out, and now our only chance is Ron Paul, and I should support him because of that. And to that, I say, fuck that shit. That's bullshit, okay? And I mean, no, I do not support Ron Paul, alright? Because Ron Paul is the fucking candidate for the nutbags. I mean, if these newsletters saying anything about him is that he is the candidate for the crazy people, the NWO people, the fucking Lyndon LaRouche people, the Alex Jones types, you know, the people that think that, you know, live like in a paranoid fucking schizophrenic existence, stacking up ammunition in a fucking like bunker, you know, in a bunker and shit with like 5 years worth of food waiting for Jesus to come back and shit. That's fucking the candidate. That's like Ron Paul's constituents. You know, this is where he comes from, okay? And I'm not sorry. I'm not fucking. I can't handle that. I mean, the thing is, the people don't understand is that his leap in the polls lately. It's because he's like the current flavor of the week. Okay, I mean, this last 6 months or whatever. That's kind of each candidate has had their leap in the polls here. You know, first it was Bachmann, and then fucking Kane for a bit before he like got busted and, you know, cheating, philandering and shit, and then like gave up. And then fucking Rick Perry, and then Newt Gingrich. All of them had kind of like a few weeks where they were like the leader guy, the leader top position person. And then now it's Ron Paul's turn. And then you gotta think, like, why is this happening? You know, why is it that they're going through each candidate in turn, and then until that candidate just fucking like blows it, when people find out what they actually stand for, they move on to someone else. Why is that happening? It's because the fundamentalist Christian base of the Republican Party doesn't want to vote for Mitt Romney. Why? Because he's a Mormon. Okay, that's exactly what's going on. All right, now some people are going to be offended by that I said that. That's the fucking truth. They don't want to vote for him because he's a Mormon. Because to the right wing evangelical Christian people, that's like a different religion. That's like, you know, being a Mormon is like being a Satanist to those people. It's like, seriously, that's what it, you know, look this shit up, okay? I mean, it doesn't take a lot of research to find out what the, you know, the reason why, all right? And, you know, the thing is, can Ron Paul keep this going and actually win the nomination? Like, I don't know. I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. I think that more stuff like this comes out, you know, and then not just even this, just his stances on just government in general. You know, like he had a commercial a little while ago where he's like, you know, it started off awesome, where it was like, yeah, and he'll pull back the military, and then, you know, FDA gone, and Department of fucking Education gone, you know, and he's like all of this shit that he cut, and it's like, what? Like, it's like, first thing, you know, I'm like, yeah, military, cut it back, awesome. Oh, wait a minute, fucking Department of Education, like FDA, are you fucking crazy? Like, no, I'm not going to support him. I'm sorry, dude. I'm not going to support him. I mean, just because his wacky, delusional, fucking conspiracy theory ass fucking theories happen to intercept my own personal views on rolling back the out-of-control militarism that has taken this country over, doesn't mean that I'm going to support him. All right, I'm sorry. That's just, you know, I agree with him on like one thing. That's it. One fucking stance. All this other shit I don't agree with him on, and I have no guarantee that any of the things that he will say he'll do, like, he'll actually get accomplished. And plus, on the inside, he's like this crazy fucking, like, conspiracy nutbag racist dickhead. Fuck that shit. You know, the thing is that, you know, people say, they go, okay, well, he could have changed his views, all right? And it's, you know, it's true, okay, people can change their views over time. You know, they say they do. I don't know if they actually do, okay? Jerry Falwell used to be a fucking, you know, he was like a fucking segregationist guy in the 60s, and he said he changed his views, and then, you know, came out against it and all that. And the same thing for, you know, Lyndon Johnson and some other people. And it could very well be that Ron Paul, like, back in the day when he was young, had these highly racist fucking views in his head, and then now he's against it. Well, then, you know what? Admit it. Just say, you know what? When I was young, which, you know, he was like 50 fucking years old. Okay, he wasn't young when these things came out. But anyway, he could say, you know, 20, 30 years ago, this is the kind of thing I believed in, and now I know that's wrong. Does that mean I'm going to support him then? I don't think so, but that would give him more credibility, and the thing is that he's not doing that. He's fucking trying to sweep this under the rug, thinking that people won't notice, and his fucking followers are so fucking stupid that they think it's a hoax. They think it's a conspiracy theory. They think it's fucking the government and shit making this shit up to smear him. And it's like, get the fuck out of my face with that, you know. And that's the biggest problem that I have with the Ron Paul movement, is that they're treating him like he's a fucking religious figure. Okay, they're treating him like he's Jesus. All right, that's what it is. That's what you fucking people are doing. You know, you're just seeing an obvious flaw, and you're brushing it, and it's not even like, you know, where he's not taking responsibility for it, and you're blaming it on mystical force. It's like, get the fuck out of my face with that, dude. I can't. I'm sorry. So fucking fuck Ron Paul. That's all there is to it. Have a happy new year.